Hello again. Welcome to our next story in Genesis about Joseph and his brothers. And remember our story last time where the brothers came to Egypt, where Joseph was in charge of collecting and passing out all the food that they had saved for the last 7 years because there was a famine in the land. And the brothers came to get food from Egypt, and they did not know that was Joseph that was passing the food out, but Joseph knew those were his brothers. And he was testing them to see if their hearts had changed because they were so mean to him so many years before. But now he wanted to see if they had changed. So they went back home and got their brother Benjamin and brought Benjamin back to Egypt with them. So Joseph was able to see Benjamin and he was so happy, but he still wanted to make sure that their hearts had changed. So he had one more test. And in that test, he decided to put a very special cup in their bags of grain. So as the brothers were, his servants were packing up the grain for Joseph's brothers to take back home with them, in one of the cups, one of the bags, they hid a very special cup. And this was Joseph's special cup. And only very special people in Egypt would have a cup like this. So there was no way that Benjamin would have that cup. But they hid the cup in Benjamin's bag of grain. But Benjamin didn't know it, and none of the brothers knew it. So when it was time for them to leave Egypt, they packed up all their bags and they started heading back out to go back home to bring the food to their father. And as they were walking along, suddenly they saw in the distance coming a chariot. And in the chariot was one of Joseph's servants. And he was coming to check and see if the cup was in the bag. Now remember, the servant, he knew where the cup was, but the brothers didn't know about it. So he drove up to him and he said, "Stop, halt. One of you has stolen my master's cup." And the brothers said, "No, we didn't. No way we would have stolen anything. Never." And he said, wherever I find the cup, that person shall be a slave in Egypt. And so he started looking through the bags, and of course, sure enough, he found Joseph's cup. And it was in Benjamin's bag. So Benjamin was going to have to go back and be a slave in Egypt. But the brothers cried out and said, "No, no, no, no." And one of the brothers, Judah, said, "Please don't take Benjamin. Take me instead." He was willing to give up his own life for his brother. So that is the test that Joseph wanted to see. But the servant said, "Nope, you must all come back to see my master." So they all had to pack up and head back to Egypt. And when they got to Egypt, when they got back, there was Joseph waiting. And the servant said, "I found this cup in Benjamin's bag." And then Joseph said, "Benjamin must stay in Egypt and be a slave." And that's when they cried out again and they said, "No, no, no." Judah said, "I would stay instead. Take me to be the slave." And when Joseph heard those words from his brothers, that they were willing to give up their own freedom for Benjamin's, he knew their hearts truly had changed. And he actually started to get choked up, to cry, and he knew it was time for him to reveal who he was. So he told the servants to leave the room. And after they left the room, that's when he revealed himself. He said, always and before this time, Joseph was speaking in Egyptian. And he didn't speak Hebrew, but now he spoke in Hebrew, and he told his brothers who he was. He said, "I am your brother Joseph. What you meant for evil, God turned into good. God had a plan all this time." He said, "I'm not angry with you. I see now that your hearts have changed, and you too love Benjamin, and you would never hurt him, and I believe that your hearts have changed towards me." So he said, "I forgive you for what you did." And he said, God turned it into good because he was able to save his own family from the famine by God revealing the dream of Pharaoh's to him, and God always took care of him. So Joseph was so happy to let his brothers know who he was. And then the brothers, of course, were so happy that Joseph was alive. They had no idea. So Joseph said, "Go home and tell my father I'm alive, and then please come back to Egypt." And when Joseph explained to the Pharaoh about who his family was, and that they were all there, and even the Pharaoh said, "Have them come and live near us. They can live near us the rest of this famine, so they have enough food." So that was very exciting. So when the brothers got back to Canaan land where Jacob was overjoyed to know that his son Joseph was still alive. And so next time we'll find out about them going back to Egypt all together.